Welcome to Gene and Mike do the New York Times crossword.
Hi, I'm Jean.
And I'm Mike. And today we are doing the crossword for Sunday, December 15th, 2024. So, on a scant 10 days from Christmas...
Yep.
Did you do the crossword?
I did do the crossword.
And was this the present you were hoping for from Santa?
No.
Okay.
No.
Were you able to wrap it up in a bow?
No. But I got it done.
Okay.
But not in a pretty way.
Uh-huh.
It was like fighting tooth and nail to get this puzzle completed.
Mm-hmm.
So, but I got it.
Well, congratulations.
Mm-hmm.
As you might imagine, this caused a firestorm on wordplay.
Oh, really?
Yep.
I did not know that.
People were grabbing the pitchforks. They were firing up the torches.
Oh, my goodness.
Yes, there was a wide, a large throng of people who were somewhat upset with it.
Wow.
Because it was hard.
Well, it was hard. But
sort of hard.
I just thought it was rather ingenious myself.
Uh-huh.
I cannot even imagine a brain that could come up with a puzzle like this. But apparently David Kwong has one.
Yes.
And I just thought it was ingenious.
So he is a magician as well as a crossword constructor.
Whoa.
And apparently he was the head magic consultant on the 2013 heist film Now You See Me, and he consults on magic and puzzles for film and TV show folk.
Uh-huh.
And
Interesting.
His honors thesis at Harvard was on the history of Eastern magicians and their impersonators.
Wow.
He also, we'll just keep promoting David here, has a new children's book of magic tricks, How to Fool Your Parents.
Huh.
So,
I wonder what his major was to have a thesis topic like that.
History of Eastern magicians. That is an excellent question.
Maybe just history.
Can you get a degree in magic at Harvard?
I don't
Maybe that's
know.
Hogwarts.
You could get a degree in history, I bet. So
mm-hmm.
I bet that's what it was.
So, yes, this was an extraordinary Sunday crossword.
Mm-hmm. Well, I enjoyed it because it was about artists, and I love art.
Yes.
I love to look at art, and when I read the little description, the little note that went with it, I was a little concerned because it said 10 paintings have been stolen by a master thief. To solve this caper, locate each stolen painting in the grid. And when I saw that, I thought, oh, dear. I know a lot of paintings, but I don't actually know what they're called. Mm-hmm. So I was a little worried about that. But it turned out that you didn't have to know the painting. You had to know the artist.
Yes. And
I'm good at artists, so
mm-hmm.
I found those right away and had no problem with filling them in where they belonged. So.
Well, good.
Mm-hmm. But it was still a challenge. First of all, just to figure out what exactly was going on with these artists' names, and then at the end of that little note, it talked about in their place, the thief has left behind 10 pieces of evidence, letters in the Downs. Read them from top to bottom to reveal a message. So that was a little tricky to parse out, and I almost didn't because I thought, oh, I don't need to do that in order to solve the puzzle, and you really don't need to do that to solve the puzzle. But then my curiosity got the best of me. It's like I want to know what the secret message is. So anyway, yeah, I enjoyed it.
Well, I actually benefited from knowing that those letters were supposed to spell something out. Because I had a problem with one of the clues. Guess which clue?
Which clue?
Yep.
Boy.
I know, there are rather a lot of them. It is a Sunday crossword.
Yes. Was it the 133 across?
Let's see.
The Go Yankees?
No.
Oh.
I mean, you because of the way the theme was constructed, you sort of had to figure it out. But I got all the crosses correct there.
Oh, uh-huh.
But you're pretty close.
Oh, yeah?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
It was 8 down. first cars made by Ford.
Oh.
And of course, I went for Model Ts.
Oh.
And I had a T in there. And I was sort of, I don't know, there was something about that T. The fact that it spelled out Tina when the solution was going to be ending with Tina, it bothered me that Tina was already in there. And I thought there's something wrong with this.
Mm-hmm.
And then I remembered they had other cars, and it was Model A. And there was the Model A that actually, that was my last letter to put an A in there.
Right. Uh-huh.
But I mean, in a crossword that was tough to begin with, I think trying to distinguish between Model A and Model T was asking a lot of its audience.
Well, I mean, first model would probably be Model A, right?
Well, I don't know if most people are familiar with that, right? I mean, most, if you think about Ford and you think about the first car, people are familiar with the Model T because that was the first, I think. Well, I don't know if that was the first mass-produced car. It's famous for something. Mm-hmm. Maybe making a whole lot of money for Ford. But no, so I had problems there. And then I thought I was having problems in various other places because I wasn't sure. Once again, I ran into this clue, and it just keeps haunting me. 66 across baseball grade Hershey. And the answer, it was, Hershiser. Hersher? Is that that's how it's pronounced?
I believe so. Yeah.
Okay. Well, in any event, what about that I in the middle after Hershiser? They don't pronounce it. They just say Hersher.
That's the way I've always heard it.
Hersher. Okay. I've never heard it. That's part of my problem. And anyways, the answer was Oral Hersher.
Yes.
Spelled O-R-E-L.
That is correct.
And I couldn't decide if it was oral or orum.
Oh,
oral. And 67 down didn't help. Franz, who composed The Merry Widow, Lahar.
Franz Lahar, yes.
Yeah, I just, I know Beethoven, I know Bach, I know those people. I don't know Lahar.
Mm-hmm.
So I had some problems there, but
I once had to play that, The Merry Widow Waltz. I play the piano.
Really?
And I once had to play that, yes. So that was one I knew.
Was Oral or Hershiser in the audience?
I don't believe so.
That joke would have worked a lot better if I could pronounce Hershiser. Hersher.
I've just always heard it as Hersher. But perhaps I am wrong.
I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
So why don't we talk a little bit about the theme?
Okay. The theme, I don't know if I can do this theme justice, but what the constructor did was within the puzzle, he included the names of 10 artists. And all of the clues for these artists' names were exactly the same, except they alluded to a different clue in the puzzle. So the first one was 4 down, painting stolen from 101 across. And the answer to that was Titian.
Mm-hmm.
And then if you go to 101 across, you have the answer, or you have the clue, health professional focused on nutrition. Well, if you know your health professionals, you know that would be a registered dietitian. But all you could fit into the answer was registered, and then you had D, I, E, and M based upon the down clues. So you had registered diem. But if you go back to 4 down, a Titian, you can have registered and then D, I, E, and then you can add in Titian after that. So it was stolen from the clue 101, but it was found in the clue 4 down.
Right, and so it became registered dietitian.
So it became registered dietitian, but there was an extra letter there, an M at the end. And that was the clever thing about this puzzle, that with each one of these, you had an artist's name that you could insert into the answer of another clue to make that clue make sense.
Hang on, I'm going to have to take notes. Carry on.
Okay. Here's another example. 33 across, and where is the oh shoot, now I can't find it was down here. It was something with I know, it was Goya.
Right.
92 across.
Yes.
92 across, the answer was painting stolen from 33 across. And the answer to that was Goya, Goya, Spanish artist. If you went up to 33 across, the clue was Bronx cheer. And the answer was WNKEES. So if you put Goya into that, ignoring the W, just putting Goya at the front, you get Go Yankees, which is a Bronx cheer. But the W was kind of the additional clue, or what the description said was 10 pieces of evidence. So what those pieces of evidence were extra letters that were left over once you inserted the artist's name into the answer for a particular clue. And then it said that you could take all those extra letters, and if you read them from the top, the highest clue where the first one was, down to the bottom of the puzzle where the last one was, you would get a message. And you certainly do get a message. And so the letters were IWASFRAMED. I was framed. Mm-hmm. So here you have this art heist, a theme for a puzzle, with a little extra secret message at the end, and the message was I was framed.
Yes.
Just a little pun there.
Yep.
So I just thought that was just amazing.
I'm assuming it took 10 to 15 years for David Kwong to do this.
Can't even imagine. I mean, I know like a lot of artists' names, but I never thought to myself, I wonder if I could insert those into answers in a crossword to make the clues make sense. Oh, and by the way, I'll add an extra letter to put a little pun in at the end.
But it has to be an extra letter that works with the downs.
Exactly, yes. So just a masterful piece of crossword cleverness.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yes, indeed. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I was... Where did you figure this out?
I figured this out... I'm thinking it was the one about the hookah.
64 across.
20 across. Painting stolen from 64 across. And the answer to that was Kahlo, Kahlo. Frida Kahlo was the artist's name. And if you went to 64 across, it was bar with hashish pipes. Well, I knew that was a hookah bar.
You did?
I did.
I'm impressed.
So if you insert Kahlo into the answer that was there, which was HOOFUNGE, but you throw out the F because that was the extra letter, you get hookah lounge, HOO, and then the KA of H of Kahlo, and then the LO of KO with the UNGE. So you get hookah lounge. Mm-hmm. And the F, like I said, was the extra letter that helped spell out I was framed. But yeah, that's where I got it. Which one did you get it with?
I think I actually got it with 21 across. 21 across being...
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Let's see. Winter setting in New England, right. And the answer was Eastern Standard Time when you filled it out and did the substitution. The artist in question was, let's see, 54 across. Yeah. Painting stolen from 21 across, and the answer to 54 across was Ernst.
Yeah.
So you had EAST and then that I. If you replace it with Ernst, you got Eastern St, and the st ran into Andard time, so you got right. Eastern Standard Time.
Right. Mm-hmm.
And I saw enough of Standard, and then I realized, well, there's something missing here.
Yes. Uh-huh.
My difficulty was that you had to sort of go back and forth between the artists
Yes.
and those answers. I made a little table.
Oh, you did?
I whipped out it's just like, because I had a mistake and I couldn't figure out what the mistake was.
Oh.
It's just like, this is going to drive me insane. So I made, in one column I had the artist, and in the next column I had the clue where that artist had been sort of, had to be inserted into to get the right answer. And then I spelled out the letters. Although that prompt that they gave, let's see, what was it? In their place, the thief has left behind 10 pieces of evidence, letters in the downs. And I wasn't sure, well, I guess they mean the downs running into that.
Right, the down clues where the extra letter was.
But when they said letters in the downs, I'm like, do they mean all the letters in the downs? Do they mean the whole clue?
That was a little confusing. It's
Yeah.
like, were there multiple letters in the downs that we were supposed to find? But no, there was just one, but actually 10 altogether, because one in 10 different clues.
But even the phrase letters in the downs, it doesn't say which downs.
Yeah.
There was an ambiguity in there, and I presume it was deliberate, because I'm sure they had a lot of time to sort of mull it over. But that was that. So it's like, this is the first time I've actually had to break out a piece of paper and a pencil to figure this out. I tell my students all the time that when you're stuck on a problem, start with pencil and paper, and in this case, it was indispensable.
Yeah.
So the clues themselves, most of them were pretty straightforward.
Yeah, they were not too terribly difficult. There were, a few here and there. I did not know where Charles de Gaulle was born. That was 52 across his clue.
Lille.
So I did not know that.
Didn't we've seen that clue not too long ago, or that answer not too long ago. It was like, what, the oldest city, I think, in France. Let's see. It's appeared in the New York Times crossword 80 times, and it was.
I was saying that was like Lyon or something.
It isn't Lille. No, it's apparently just known as Charles de Gaulle's birthplace.
Yeah.
Or for sometimes French city near the Belgian border. But no, that wasn't the oldest. I wonder what the oldest city was. Oh well, not Lille.
Arles, maybe Arles. I don't know, but anyway, I did not know that one. And I'm trying to think. Oh, an interesting one, 95 across, opened or closed like an eye in film lingo, which of course I know none.
Right.
But it was irised.
Yes.
Like your iris being closed, covered over and then revealed with your eyelid. It's called irised.
I'm sure that's one of those shots that George Lucas probably did a million times.
And
isn't that sort of like how they start James Bond? I mean,
yes,
they do have this iris effect.
That's right.
But it's really just an animation on the screen. It's not like you open it up and now you see a different scene.
No, that's right.
Yeah, I didn't know. I knew some of the artists, but there were places like, for example, 11 down, Salinger's for blank with Love and Squalor, and the answer was Esme. No idea what that was about. I think
that was like his muse. Her name was
Esme.
Esme.
Okay. Well, we also had another clue, very similarly spelled. 47 down, 90 degrees from Nord. And I'm like, oh, great. It's Spanish.
Yep.
So I thought it has to be ahora.
Oh, no.
Because that was...
now.
That was...
Now.
Yes, on Friday, that was the answer to now in Spanish. I wanted to use it, but it was Este, E-S-T-E. So we had Esme and Este.
That's correct.
And I'm sure I'm pronouncing neither of those correctly, but...
No, I think that's right.
Hopefully we got the spelling.
79 down was a term I'd never heard before. Old-fashioned trinket shop vendors, toy men.
Yes.
I've never heard that.
I had that filled out and didn't believe it. But I looked at the acrosses. One thing about the theme, if you had the theme right for a particular clue, you knew you had it right.
That's right.
I mean, it's just you plug that in and it spelled, like in this case, with O'Keefe, it spelled out smoke effects.
Right.
So that T of Toyman had to be there.
That's right.
But yeah, I don't know what that's about either.
Mm-hmm.
It seems to me I've seen a Twilight episode that involved a toy man or something like that. I'm gonna have to
Twilight or a Twilight Zone?
Twilight Zone.
Oh, okay.
I'm gonna have to go and dig back into that.
Mm-hmm.
76 down was sort of scary for me because I was having, it's just like something's wrong in the grid here. And it was plunder archaically, and it was reave,
Yes.
R-E-A-V-E.
Yeah, that's where I ended up.
Really?
Uh-huh. Because 97 across where that V was no longer interested in.
Right.
And I had put for that first letter in that an A. So I had a veer. And I'm like, well, that doesn't mean no longer interested in. That's, speaking out. And so eventually, I had a mistake and I couldn't find it. And eventually I thought, well, that's not right. So then I realized that had to be an O. So that made it over, which made a big difference. So
didn't you look at 69 down, mapped out again, replotted?
Right.
I mean, you would have had replatted.
I was thinking replatted like a plat book.
Okay.
That's got maps of various parts of a section of the country.
See, that's the problem. You know too much.
Plat book. We would always have to get a plat book every year.
Really?
My father, who was a farmer,
Mm-hmm.
and he always was just interested in, because it would map out, who owns this tract of land and who owns this tract of land, and he always liked to see, he was always looking for land to farm, so he was always seeing, who was owning various plots of land.
Sounds like a major violation of privacy right there.
I know, but it was common knowledge.
Mm-hmm.
So, but anyway, yeah, that's where I ended up.
Okay.
So.
Yeah, there were a couple of other clues that I was definitely unsure of. 18 down, 60s Campus Activist Group, abbreviation of group, was SDS.
SDS, Students for a Democratic Society.
Really?
Yep, I remember that. Mm-hmm.
See, I was thinking of SLA, the Symbionese Liberation Army.
No, they're the group that kidnapped Patty Hearst.
Right. I figured they might be an activist group and also kidnappers. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so I had no idea what was going on there. They did have one gimme for me, 60 across. Popeye's witchy foe in early comics, Sea Hag.
Sea Hag.
The Sea Hag rides again.
I did not know that one.
You didn't know Sea Hag?
Mm-mm. But I did know 50 across. Roll for Jay Silverheels. Tonto.
Yes, that was also a gimme, at least for me.
Uh-huh.
Let's see. We had Anchors Away Group. That was the USN, the U.S. Navy.
That is correct.
And there were a few places. Again, we already mentioned Orem. No, wait.
Oral.
See, I can't even remember it from the beginning of the podcast to the end of the podcast. This is very bad indeed.
For sure. Orem, that's used sometimes, the clue like city in Utah. Orem.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I'll tell you another place where I got definitely hung up. Let's see. 65 down, some partners in lesbian couples. And I had an M and an S, and I thought, oh, it's mums, M-O-M-S.
Oh.
You have two mums, I guess. And that meant that 70 across, fat used in candle making was suot, S-U-O-T. And even though I'm not a big candle maker, I was sure it was S-U-E-T. And it's just like, but it's got to be mums. Therefore, there must be a variant spelling of suet, S-U-O-T.
Uh-huh.
See, this is why I always get in trouble. I start assuming wild things.
Anyways, read so much into these.
It turned out to be suet, S-U-E-T, and the answer, I thought, well, okay, if it's got to be M's, and then I thought, oh, it must be femmes.
Yes.
So, I wonder, so if they're femmes, I wonder what the other partner is. The masks for masculine?
I don't know.
I don't know either. Another thing to learn. We had 43 down. Hodgepodges was Olios,
Right.
Olios.
Yep.
I still want to see more crosswords with Olio, Olio, and Oleo, the margarine, Oleo.
Well, some people spell the margarine Olio too.
Well, those people ought to be arrested. Really, I mean, it's one thing to have a variant spelling, but you're not allowed to have a variant spelling that represents something entirely different. Although maybe, I wonder if there is a relationship. Did they make margarine by just throwing in a hodgepodge of other things?
No.
So can you take an oleo of ingredients to get oleo?
I don't think so.
No. Okay. Let's see, what else was... We also had a clue we've seen a couple of times recently. 51 down, basic skateboard trick was an ollie.
That's right.
I was ready for that one.
Me too. I did know that one.
And we just finished having a debate about how to spell dryer sheets, dryer versus dryer. And then we have 103 down, most boring was the driest.
Yes.
So I was glad to see that.
And the one right next to it, 104 down, lines at the theater, dialogue.
Yes.
That's cute.
Yeah, I went for scripts, but had to completely change that around.
Mm-hmm.
We had a chestnut 129 across. Annual star-studded fashion event was a Met Gala.
That's right.
That wasn't too bad. Mm-hmm. And then we had 59 across. Customary practice, want, W-O-N-T.
That's right.
That's a word that I know pretty well, so
yes. Mm-hmm.
I was just glad to see something there that I recognized. Really, really interesting crossword.
Yeah, I thought so too. Good job.
Yes.
Good job, David.
Yes. Mm-hmm. And just don't read wordplay today. You'll be a lot happier if you don't. Mm-hmm. All right. Well, that is it for today then. So thanks everyone for listening. Remember, our next Triplet Tuesday contest is coming up quickly. So get in that last minute studying, but that's not tomorrow. That'll be the day after. So tomorrow we will be back with our cutting edge analysis of Monday's crossword. Hope to see you then.
Bye-bye.